Welcome to Distancify Weekly, the show where we discuss e-commerce and the technology behind it. My name is Christopher Lindvall, and with me today I have
Christopher Lindblom.
Today we are talking about chatbots.
Christopher, have you talked to any interesting bots lately?
Yeah, I do talk to my Google Assistant every now and then, which is kind of a bot, but it's voice activated.
How does that work for you?
Not terribly well. She can do a couple of things, but mainly I use her to turn on the lights in the kitchen and also start music. So that's about it. So I say, okay, Google, turn on breakfast. And she turns on the lights and starts the breakfast music. It's pretty neat.
Okay, but that's more, so the chat bot in this scenario is the command that activates a scene, because after that the scene player or whatever it is
exactly.
takes
it's not
over.
Like she figured out what the breakfast
so it's
means.
not, and you did not program this scenario using a chat bot.
No, I used my phone.
Yeah, so it's a different interface.
Yeah. And so Google Assistant clearly uses voice, but a lot of bots use just text, which I think text is kind of weird. I mean, we've had command line interfaces for, 50 years now, and we've moved away from that, and now we're moving back to it in terms of text activated bots. And I'm skeptical. I think we really need to start talking about application when it comes to chatbots. Every few years, chatbots is a new thing. This time around with voice, because we can understand and we can synthesize voice better than we used to.
Yeah, but shouldn't that make the chatbots more, make them come back? Because then you give it another layer which was lacking.
Yeah, that's what everybody seems to be talking about, is like how to make these bots seem human. And, you talk about Turing tests and how to fool people into thinking they're talking to humans, and especially from the e-commerce perspective, a lot of people talk about bots in relation to customer services, and that's I don't know if we want our bots to be human fully, because think about it. We watched this show a few days ago. It was from DEF CON where they demonstrated social engineering, and this hacker, she called up this internet service provider and managed to change a person's password just by fooling the customer service representative. That's the sort of thing that comes with being a human. That's making, arbitrary mistakes. And I don't think we want our bots to do that. Plus, it's like a kind of inefficient way of communicating.
You mean, inefficient. I was going to say something, but I thought you said something else. But what I meant to say is that we might be putting our energy in the wrong place, because instead of trying to make them more human, we should make bots that specialize.
Yeah, and we should focus on the capabilities. Like, as I said, Google Assistant, she can do various things that I don't need her to do. I mainly use it for turning on the lights and telling me what the weather is going to be like. For everything else that she can do, I always find myself using a different route to get to the same information. Like news, for example. Every now and then I try, maybe I can passively listen to news, while I'm doing breakfast or something. But you always turn it out to be much faster to just, scroll past 20 headlines and just pick out what I think is interesting. While, she has to talk through all of the might be interesting news for 5 minutes. It takes too long. I don't have the patience.
Yeah. I also tried to use an assistant. I tried Cortana, Bixby, and Google to set alert for a couple of minutes.
Yeah.
Like,
No, I actually, yeah.
but it messed up. I mean, sometimes it worked very good, but when it messed up, it took me more time than it would have taken me to do it myself in the user interface with my phone.
Yeah, I mean, I have been using Siri for that because I have an iPhone. And, I would say something like, Siri, remind me in 2 hours that, the washing machine is done, or something like that. Or remind me to ping Lindblom tonight about this question that I need to ask you, or something like that. And I mean, you usually get the time right, but you never ever get the task right. For some reason, the voice interpretation is really bad in Siri. So, she always mishear and type down some other words, but it doesn't really matter because I know that when, time is 8 in the evening and there's this reminder, I know what I meant to say when I said it. So I kind of figure it out, but yeah, it's kind of it's a low bar.
Yeah, and it also takes too long to undo what they do. It's like every voice assistant should have like an undo command for everything. It's like undo, and then it should undo whatever you did last. It doesn't.
Yeah, but a lot of times they do have that.
Okay.
I mean, at least Siri does that. So I think she does that. At least, or I just set another reminder. But I think she goes like, okay, I'm setting this.
And then she wants a confirmation on everything. Right?
Actually, if I don't say anything, she saves it. But I think I can say, "Oh no, wait, go back," or something. I don't know. I mean, that's also another issue with chatbots is that they're not intuitive. Like if they were actually smart, they would be intuitive in the way that they could help you along. But most of the time, when I say something to Google Assistant, the reply I get is like, "Oh, I don't know." But I'm learning stuff all the time. You're never learning anything of use.
I used to get this message where I say, "This is what I found on the internet."
Yeah.
Like I think that was Siri. She Googles everything.
Yeah, whatever you say, it becomes a Google search.
Yes.
And then you still have to look at your phone to see the results. So yeah, that's a voice assistant. But there's another group of chatbots as well. There's the, as I said in the beginning, the customer service substitute. I've seen some good examples of this, and I've seen a lot of bad examples. I can mention some of the good ones are the ones who guide you, where they kind of use the chat as an interface. For example, post-purchase. So if you ever fly with KLM in Europe, they have this thing where as you're booking the ticket, you can check that you have Messenger, and then after you have booked your ticket, you get this bot comes up in Messenger and says, "Oh, here's your ticket," and you can actually access your ticket right then in the. You can click on the ticket in the chat.
So it's like a link.
Yeah, it's a link. Yeah, and you can even see the QR code. I think straight in the. So you could use Messenger for ticket for boarding, basically. So you shove your phone with the QR code from Messenger in under the scanner, and it opens the door for you. And then they provide some extra value, like you're going to Berlin. Maybe you want to check out these tourist information, or maybe you want to book a hotel or something, and I can press that, and it becomes very interactive. It still uses it's sort of within the chat interface, but it's very guiding. So it uses buttons, and voice commands or text commands are very limited. I don't have to use it because if you were to map out one of these bots, you could say that they're used at any given state. There's a finite number of things you can do, right? And a lot of times it's like one or two things you can do, especially when you've gone past the first step. So why not just present those as two buttons on the screen? Because it's going to be a lot faster for me to just pick option A or option B with my finger on the screen, and then have text sort of like an optional thing. When
Yeah, because otherwise you need to explore it to find it, because it might be option 3 that you never found.
And that's the problem with voice. You have to, if you're gonna use a voice interface, you have to learn it in the same way as you would learn a graphical interface. So the first time you open up an app on your phone, you have to sort of learn how it works. You have to understand how the designer who designed the app thought about.
Yeah, but you also usually get a lot of heuristics, right? I mean, things that you have seen before.
Yeah. You can use like the hamburger is up in the left corner. Okay, that's probably the main menu or something like that.
Yeah, but in a conversation, it's you lack that, I think.
Yeah,
it's like you get a blank screen, and then when you tap somewhere, you see you might get a button.
Yeah, it's like Minesweeper of interfaces. So that's the main problem with voice. Like you have to combine it with either. Or you have to combine it with vision, and if you have vision, a pointing device, whether it be your finger or a mouse or whatever, is just often very, very close and superior to voice. Because with voice you have security issues, you have privacy issues, you have all these things. The only time I really see voice beating
and discovery issues that we talked about,
and the only time I actually see voice superior to traditional graphical interfaces is when you want to do specific tasks, where you want to sort of skip a couple of.
I like to call it like deep linking. Like
you
want to go deeply into a specific point in the application.
Exactly, and that's much, much faster to just say. So when I say to Google Assistant, play this song on Spotify, instantly that song starts playing. But if I want to do that using the graphical interface, I have to unlock my phone. I have to find Spotify, within among all the apps. I have to open it up, wait for it to load, and then I have to, know where to find it. So I either go to my playlist or I go to search, and I have to type in the name of the artist, click the artist, select the song that I want to play. It takes a while.
Here's what I think is interesting. A lot of people think of bots or using this new interface on e-commerce as a sort of pre-purchase customer service substitute. If you talk to the companies who are trying to develop chatbots for e-commerce, like all the major support customer service platforms like Freshdesk or Zendesk or the similar services, what they do is that they have this little search box which they make look like a chat. And when you type something in there, they basically recommend some article that's in.
You're talking about the floating thing on the right side on every page.
Yeah, exactly. And then they had this incredibly innovative feature where if the bot doesn't understand the query, or they detect that this conversation isn't going anywhere, then they ping a real person and they can seamlessly jump in, or they could say, I'm handing this over to, my friend at customer services or something like that. And I think that's the worst or the least useful way of using a bot on an e-commerce site. Like, if we take the example that we had with KLM, when they're doing this post-purchase support, that would work awesome for e-commerce. Like, imagine you place an order, and bam, you get something in Messenger saying, "Oh, here's your order. If you need anything, or you want to do, change it or cancel it or whatever, you can just do that right here in the chat. It's like the chat then, and you take the chat outside of the website, so I don't have to go to the website. I'm using an existing platform for chat. Like
I was
Messenger
thinking
or
about
something
when
like
you
that.
spoke. I was like, okay, so you need to stay on the page and chat, but
You have to get off the
the
website
platform,
and
into
into
a different one where the customer is.
Yeah, exactly. And then it becomes sort of like a interactive order confirmation email. Like we all get those, thank you for your order.
Yeah, could even be upsell.
Yeah, you don't even have to have that email. You just have to initiate this conversation.
But when you chat with that bot, you can see, but we also sell papers for your printer.
Yeah, you can do.
And we
can
have
do
a
upsell.
deal on that right now or something. And
Yeah, you can push things through that.
Yeah.
I think we talked about push
it's like a salesman you get to bring home with you.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about push notifications. That is never going to work, I think, for selling websites, because the customer is just not interested enough of getting more mass marketing. Like, we already get the emails, we get the SMSs, we get the haunting of remarketing ads. So wherever I go, I will see this product because I watched it one time on one page.
But then also
we don't want more of that. So push notifications not gonna take off. But if we do the chat thing, I think it becomes a natural sort of, I'm here to help you.
Yeah.
And you bought this thing. Here are some accessories that you might find useful. Maybe I'm not pushing that right now. I'm pushing that, 1 week after you received your package. Now you've tested it. Maybe you want to add these things. You can do smart things like that.
That would it would consume a lot of manpower if you were to do that for every order, for every person, if you didn't have chatbots for that.
Exactly. Yeah,
So
you have to automate it.
So it's a great way to have an ongoing conversation with the customer.
Yeah, exactly. But nobody would be in that situation thinking that, I'm talking to a human now.
No,
it's just a different interface with the system.
I think if you did that, if you tried to fool them to thinking that it was a human, they would not really like it either, because they would think this is a stupid human.
Yeah.
But
this is a lesser human.
Back to what you said about push notifications. Another thing that makes you not want to do it is because I don't know. Do you accept push notifications
Never.
from Chrome?
No,
definitely
never.
not from Chrome, because that's a website. How do I even get rid of that push notification as a normal user from a specific application? That's one thing, but from Chrome, it's like all of these push notifications are under the same application, and then it's just weird.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty negative to notifications overall, because I think it ruins your mind. Don't tell me that something happened. I'll check myself when I'm ready to be disturbed. But yeah, where notifications would work is for web apps. Like, this thing happened that you need to take action on right now. But that's very rare that things happen like that. But so push notifications for e-commerce, I don't think it's ever gonna take off. But
I mean, unless you're a real bargain hunter. I mean, that's the crowd. The crowd that responds well to SMS.
Yes,
I mean, they should probably just.
I never click the SMS either. I'm probably a bad representative, but for me, I'll never.
I think we are a very bad.
Yeah, we are definitely. But I still think it's sort of It's not a development that I would like to take part in.
No.
To make these notifications more ubiquitous or more disturbing. But chatbots, post-purchase chats, I think is very, very interesting because you can do all the order management. You can, you want to know whether or not your order has been shipped. Well, it's right here in the chat. I can even tell you when it's shipped. So all of that stuff could happen.
You have an ongoing open communication.
Exactly.
As it feels like.
Exactly.
Yeah, because I can take an example right now because we are remaking the kitchen, and we have carpenters coming in. So I need to call IKEA to see if they are going to deliver the kitchen on that Friday because they will come and tear down the other kitchen on that same day. So we need to know that the kitchen actually is coming.
Yep.
If I had that chatbot, it would be just one message in that already open communication where I would get the answer, and that would be very, very beneficial for me right now.
Yeah, and add to that the distance to talking to an actual human is very, very short. So in that interface, you could just have a command that says, bring up a real person. I want to talk to a real person.
Yeah,
and they would jump in. They would see all the context, and they would be able to answer your question. Immediately.
Every support, because we are not working with in-house support tickets here. We're working with a customer. Yeah. So I think it can just be one open, longer conversation with that customer. I think they will feel very because it's not the store pushing things on them. It's just the store keeping one open communication channel.
Yeah. I mean, So that's one feature where I think chat will work really well for e-commerce. The second one is Search 2.0, on-site search. Because
you mean with drop shadows?
Yeah,
and reflective graphics. Okay, good. Then
glossy
we'll
buttons.
Yes.
Now, I mean, on-site search is becoming more and more irrelevant for every day because, who searches on a website? Really, I mean, you search on Google and then you end up on a website, hopefully in the right place if they've done their SEO right.
Yeah, and if you care about the website, you include the website name in your query on Google.
Yeah,
that's how you search a website.
Yeah, exactly. Because usually Google is much better than any on-site search, and that's not because they are, they are probably technically superior to you, but it's not only that, they get so much feedback from actual human beings.
Yeah,
so
you're used to that interface. So, I mean, the listing you get, that's the listing you always get.
Yeah, but they can feed in other search queries into their relevance algorithm. So they will always be best at recommending the most relevant stuff.
Oh, yes.
But on-site search, I think, could be enhanced with stuff that Google would not be able to do. Like, what if your on-site search was not a search bar at the top of the page, but actually an ongoing conversation with the website? So I think, and this is next level in terms of, I think, complexity. But what if I would, I could type in like red sweater, and it would recommend me red sweaters. But then I could type in things like, similar, can you give me a blue sweater that's sort of similar to this? And that's sort of like contextual and session-based searching when you're basing the result on next search based on what you've seen previously, and that you can tie everything together.
But when you talked yesterday, just now, I thought of another example. Like when you say red shirt, but you could also say, I need a shirt that matches with the jeans I bought last week.
Yeah,
that would be good, because then you would have these the stylists that you can get on different clothing fashion stores. You could have that in a little bit. I mean, sort of have that.
Yeah, but I mean, because we're so focused when it comes to on-site search, we're so focused on solving the problem that Google already solves better. Like, we're talking about stemming, and we're talking about combining attributes and searching for them. We're talking about these classic search problems. We're talking about, okay, how much
relevance.
What is relevance? Like, is relevance the number of hits? Like, if you search on red, just because the product mentions red 4 times in the description, is that then more relevant than the one who just mentioned it twice? Probably not. But all of those things we have already solved it. There are already search engines that you can use that solves that problem, and Google solves it too. But what about the next thing? And I think that's where we should try to go. Is like we've been focusing on getting not missing anything when you're searching. But I think the more important question to ask is how do we make our search engines display as few options as possible?
Yeah, I mean, helpfulness should be not the exact match of the search, but how helpful is this search result for that customer?
But so for example, I'm talking every other month. I'm talking to a person that should or could be a bot because it's technically feasible. So he calls me up every few months and asks for what I need in my closet, and and then we talk about it, and then he puts together a box, 10 to 15 pieces, sends that to my house. I try it on, I keep the stuff I like, and send back the rest. That could be so easily done with the bot.
Yeah.
You could have one person who would feed in the styling aspect. So like, okay, these things fit together. You would need to create that data set. But then it would just be a matter of matching the right person with the right category of products and then sending them, that based on previous choices. So my guy, he's figured out that, some products fit me better than others. So he chooses, models.
Yeah, he adds that to the...
Yeah, he adds that to... He probably uses some software underneath, but, they figured out what fits me. They figured out which colors I like, and they figured out which categories I like. And they do that based on what I keep and what I don't keep. And I have to, every time I return something, I give a reason for it, because I can return something just because it's expensive, but that still means I like it, and, stuff like that. And they, that could be, why can't your on-site search be like that if you're on e-commerce? Use all the knowledge you have of the person and become personal, but don't become human.
Yeah, because then you also build up this relationship with that customer where your store offers more than just the same products for same or cheaper prices.
Yeah, and I think if you're doing that, you have to just be aware that this is not for everyone. Like, there's people who still want many options. But those are also, I think, the kind of people who buy a lot of stuff. You want to get to the people who just want to get in, get out as soon as possible. And if it's too much of a hassle, they will just, not convert. So I think that this is something for targeting those people who are like me, don't have time. Just give me something I like. I'm not interested in browsing. So those are two areas where we should use bots. And the customer service, is there anything I can help you with? Not useful. Your search for the first thing, your search should already cover any sort of customer service frequently asked question anyway. So you shouldn't have to worry about it.
Yeah, it could just be a form and pretend to be a bot, and then I type in the question and you say thank you, and then you know where you need to go and fix, because they could not find this. So you fix the bug in your system. We can see it as a bug.
So to wrap this up, I would say there are two types of bots. There are the assistants, which should not be human at all. I think they should be simple. Like, every morning I go up into my kitchen, I say, okay, Google, start or turn on breakfast, because that's the scene. I just want to say, okay, Google, breakfast. But if I say that, she's gonna go, oh, I don't know what that means. Just let me add my own commands. I don't care. I mean, you don't have to be smart.
Yeah, I don't want to speak like I speak to a human. I don't want to say all the weird words.
Yeah.
Like when I try to set my alerts, I try to do it by saying the most error-prone, shortest sentence I could find.
Yeah.
Like alert in 5 minutes.
You mean the least error-prone.
Yeah, the least.
Yeah, but I mean,
alert 5 minutes. That's what I want to say.
I don't want to be. I don't want to. I don't care about my digital assistant's feeling. It should not.
No,
like
you issue
why.
commands.
Why should I be nice to it? Why should I put in these phrases like, oh, dear Google, can you please turn on my spotlights in the kitchen, please? Why would I use all of those words? I would just say, Google, spotlights, and it should figure out that it should turn it on because they're currently off, right?
Alert me in 5.
Yeah, exactly. That's what these companies are doing. Assistants should be focusing on. Stop making them human.
I think if they did that, they would already have solved the problem.
This has been another episode of Distancify Weekly. Lindblom.
Yes.
If you want to hear more, where would you go?
You should go to YouTube and check out our channel, and you should definitely subscribe to our RSS feed or on iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts.
Yeah, or subscribe on YouTube and hit the bell button, which is apparently important.
Yeah, and also some thumbs. They always talk about that in the YouTube videos. So should we.
Yeah, and comment, because comments...
But actually, I think comments are useful, because I think then you can have contextual conversations. So you can discuss things in the episode on the episode itself. So that is actually a good thing. I think. And you can also email us at podcast@distancify.com.
Yeah. Or, try to find us out in the street. We're here in Skövde, Sweden.
Yes. And we run every lunch.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Come
if you
join us.
Yeah. So if you're a hitman or just want to have a chat, you know where to find us.
Yes.
Thank you. See you next week. Bye.